what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Welcome, Mesh listeners, to the latest episode of Street Circle Drive. I am your co-host, Andrew Moose. Thank you for joining us here on The Mesh. Today it is February 8th, 2019, and it's the first coming of spring, or Spring 1, as I'd like to call it. Today in the Street Circle Drive universe, we are missing a co-host. Mary-Margaret has been abducted by aliens, or her kid is out with the flu. We'll let you choose your own adventure on that. But I am here today with Mr. Michael McNally. What's happening, McNally?
Not much, boys. Boys night out.
Boys night out, man. Here we are.
Let's do this.
I know. We don't get...
It is weird hearing you intro the show.
It is weird.
It's the first time in a year and a half that Mary-Margaret's not kicking us off.
I know.
And trying to corral and keep us in line with what's going on.
I think this thing's going to go off the rails pretty quickly.
There's the potential for it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, she's like lion tamer and whipmaster and all that good stuff. All basically just balled into one.
Yes.
But we wish Mary Margaret the best. We hope.
And there's still a chance that this pod never sees the light of day once she hears it.
She very well told me this morning, she's like, we'll veto this podcast if it goes crazy. So we're going to bind our P's and Q's. But, it being February and... with February also comes Valentine's Day. It's coming up in a few days.
The day of love.
I mean, now, what do you think about Valentine's Day? Like,
I absolutely hate Valentine's Day.
Okay, we're on the same team here.
Well, and I'm one of those that I get the whole sentiment of, you need to express and tell those that are close to you that you love them. I mean, hopefully 364 days out of the year, you're not kicking them in the teeth, and then all of a sudden you turn around and tell them how great they are and you love them and you get a card and some chocolates and whatnot. But, there's a reason they call it the Hallmark holiday.
That's right.
It's just, I struggle with it because then I struggle with everybody's anxiety about what, and maybe I'm putting this on everybody else, but if you're a lady, then... the pressure of what you're going to tell everybody when they sit there and say, "What'd you get?" Or,
that's gross. It's gross to me.
Then the guys are like, "Oh, what are you getting your lady?"
Right.
And it's just like
also gross.
Oh my gosh!
Honestly, if any of my friends out there, they're listening to this, and you ask me what I got for, I'm flipping because we don't do Valentine's Day.
No, we don't. I mean, we don't do much. We got the girls, so we might usually get them like a little candy something or whatever, but no, we don't do much. I don't know. And I struggle something. Should I do more? Should I not? I mean, shoot, this year, Christina has taken the girls down to Florida to visit some of her dad and grandma and whatnot. So it's not even, I'm flying solo on Valentine's Day.
Being the president of the No Kids Club over here, like, do the kids still pass out Valentine's Day for those Valentines?
They do. So, even this year, so we've got the third graders, our fifth grader, we haven't heard anything about it. The third graders got a note saying, it's 20 kids in their class, but, they switch teachers for some of their periods. Like, it's 40 if you did everybody. And they even said on the note, just put the from. Like, don't even put the to.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Just like now, it's just, here are the ones
they're starting to figure it out.
Sally, and you just hand them out to whoever, and they just know it got it from Sally. And,
right.
When they were younger, we did the whole writing to, from, barely legible.
Right.
And, and I remember
at this point,
creating those little pouches to put next to your desk.
Of course. At that point, first and second grade, basically, it's just learning how to write other people's names. Like, that's just an exercise, I think.
Or your own, depending on.
Yeah, or your own.
It's not always the easiest thing on the. So they still do it, but it starts petering off after second grade.
Okay. Well, that's good at least. So, with it being Valentine's Day and this being a Hickory-centric podcast, McNally came up with a great idea, and that was...
we'll see how great it is.
Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
But good. The execution might be flawed.
Well, that's par for the course around here. So, McNally, tell us what your idea was.
So, with Valentine's being here, and as you're listening to this in the car or whatnot, you might be Valentine's Day and the day of love, and let's just talk about the things that we love about Hickory. So we were kind of talking about, all right, we can each do our own top 10 lists, the things we love about Hickory, and kind of make fun of each other's lists, expand on some of the things that we put on these lists. And and just talk about a lot of the things that we individually love about Hickory, and a lot of it is going to be a collective idea and thought, because there are a lot of shared things that we do appreciate and love about this.
Sure. Mary-Margaret sent me her list today. You want to start with hers?
It's always better to just go ahead, because if it goes downhill from here, then we'll have nobody else to blame but her.
Right. Okay. So Mary-Margaret sent me her list, and this is her top 10 loves. Hickory loves. Top 10 Hickory loves. Okay. Street Circle Drive. No. Okay. Street Circle Drive, top 10 Hickory loves from our co-host, Mary-Margaret. So in no particular order, the train, the Mill District, the Crawdads, locations from mountains to the beach, the Salt Block, Cool Park, Lenorine, the fact that Hickory was founded as a tavern. I mean, we're stopping right there for a second. That's good. That's a good one.
That's not on my list, but I like that.
I like that one too. Union Square, and the most important, number 10, I don't know how she could say this was in no particular order, Street Circle Drive podcast. That's what she loves about Hickory. So,
that's a good plug.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a few on my list that are the same too.
Here's what I wish she was here. Like, what do you think she means by the train? Just the fact that we have a train going through town?
I think it's the fact that we have a live train that runs directly through the middle of our downtown.
Okay.
And the optics of it, and the basically you feel like a little kid when you're trying to count all the cars and the train. And,
I still do that.
Yeah, of course. Especially when you're waiting on it to try to get from one side of downtown to the other.
Exactly. You're four times a day.
Yeah, of course. And that's I agree. That is just a sentimental idea of a sentimental thing that Hickory has that I don't know if a lot of towns our size have. Just
or they've elevated, the bridges are elevated,
right? Or diverted the train around downtown,
right. Well, do you have the Mill District on your list?
Sort of, kinda.
Okay.
The Mill District, for those that aren't aware, are
that's
the
why
two,
I wanted to kind of hit on that. Make sure we talked about
sure. The two mills in question here, the Moretz Mill and the Holler Mill, both are upfitted mills from
former hosiery textile,
right? And they have been upfitted to very nice commercial districts, commercial buildings with everything in them. Yeah,
and I'm sure most people listening, all 3 or 4 of you either live here or have ties to here. But
what's up, Hootie?
And it is one of those things where it's becoming more common to see some of these refurbishments of older industrial facilities. One for historical tax purposes, one just for the historical purpose of them, and then actually being able to reutilize and utilize the space. But ours are very cool. I mean, because they were some of the first in our state to be done underneath that
brownfield project.
Brownfield projects, right, using the historic tax credits to help with the renovation. I know they can create their own headaches in certain instances, but I think that's very cool how we were some of the first to do it in the state for that commercial purpose. And they look great. I mean, people always love those older looking facilities, the exposed brick, the exposed ductwork. I mean, just that industrial feel, but you're in an updated commercial purpose. So you've got, Highland Avenue, you've got the brewery, you've got Delishy, you've got on the other, with Moretz.
On Boca and Southside and event spaces and the whole deal. And I think one of the coolest parts about that, and hats off to the designers and the architects and everybody that came up with that, they used so much of the old to incorporate into the new design.
Yeah. And it's no cheap, feat, because to maintain that historic, you have to use the similar window structure. Well, guess what? That's a brand new window to be up to the current standards. And here's guessing they don't make those cheap.
Right.
That's not like the old school where they just have the glass and then 50 years later it has a wave to it because of gravity and all these wonderful things. And we'd be remiss not to talk about add transportation insight into that whole mill district, even though it is a private company's headquarters. I mean, really, it's a headquarter campus that continues that. I mean, really, that whole mill district's really cool. It's kind of shifted the what I would call the heart of downtown east slightly, going towards LR and the mill district, how they all really butt up against each other.
Right. And we'll all be connected, as we learned from our last podcast. We'll be connected by the City Walk. And yeah, we're excited about that, being able to walk from downtown to the mills and basically get Hickory up and moving and all that good stuff.
Anything else on her list stand out to you?
Well, I've got a couple of the same ones that she has, but one that I didn't put on there is the Cool Park Water Park.
I've never been.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Okay.
And I got kids, and we've never been to Cool Park.
Right. Take a shower after, but it's great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's...
Well, we live in that area, too. I mean, our old neighborhood was right off Cool Park Road. So.
Right. That's definitely a summertime activity for the kids and all of us adults that act like kids. So it's it's very reasonably priced. I think it's like under $10 to get in every day, and you can stay all day. So it's cheaper than a babysitter out there for those that are looking for summertime.
So you just think you just unsupervised take your kids to a drowning hazard. I like it.
Yeah. Here's your life preserver if you happen not to swim. Yeah, here's a bag lunch.
That's true.
I don't know if that's what my mom and dad.
Daddy got to go to work.
They used to drop me off at the neighborhood pool and be like, "Have fun."
Yeah.
See you when
Well, the more I hang out with you, I understand why they just kind of dropped you off and left you on your own
I was worse
devices.
as a kid too. I was worse as a kid. The fact that we were founded as a tavern with as many bars and restaurants that are in this town, you'd wonder how we could not have been founded as a tavern.
Yep.
Yeah, we love our local restaurants and watering holes here for sure. And Street Circle Drive, that's just an absolute given on her list. So Mary-Margaret, good stuff on your list. McNally.
All right, you want me to hear some of mine?
I want to hear some of yours, bud.
Well, some of mine are you could just tell who's the old fuddy-duddy dad in the group.
Buddy,
some of mine were just like struggling. First and foremost, and not to say this just to be sappy, but saying it as someone who's lived here, moved away, and come back. I mean, the number one thing about Hickory is definitely the people. And it's,
right.
There's most every community obviously can say this. You're going to fall into your circles, and those are obviously going to be your people you familiarize yourself with and are representative of your community. But really, you can... If you are so inclined, you can walk around town and rarely meet a stranger. I mean, it's just one of those communities that's very, I don't know if it's that Southern charm, that Appalachia can-do attitude. I don't know what it is, but there's a great collection of people here. And I've always said...
It's Christmas spirit year-round, so it is Tinseltown, America.
I don't want to paint it something that it's not, but there is something truly to it here in Hickory, and I do love it, and that's... the main reason when we left where we knew that this is where we were supposed to be is just the people here. So I know that's not trying to, speaking of Hallmark days, not trying to sound too sappy and Hallmark movie special, but, that is the number one reason that we love Hickory. Mary-Margaret hit on my second thing on my list, which is kind of weird when you're selling a community by selling its proximity to other things.
Right, sure.
But that is a huge plus.
It's enormous.
Hickory.
It's an enormous plus for Hickory, and we always have tried to stay away from this in our show a little bit because we want to put all the shine on Hickory, but seriously, y'all, it is close to everything.
Great. And I mean,
it's great.
Speaking of someone who worked at the Chamber of Commerce and at the EDC here, it's hard to sit there and sell that. But you know what? Especially in today's world where nobody is truly isolated in their own community. Well, some of those communities might still not be close to much.
Right.
Well, if we want to go hiking in the mountains, I'm 30 minutes to 60 minutes away from just phenomenal mountainous parks, peaks,
right.
Blue Ridge, state parks, the South Mountain State Park, you name it.
Yeah,
if we want to go to the beach, I mean, in all honesty, I'm 4 hours away from some of the country's best beaches and beach communities.
Right.
Charleston, Myrtle, our Outer Banks, so on and so forth.
Yeah, Wrightsville.
An hour from Charlotte. So, I mean, whether that's an international airport, whether that's downtown Panther Stadium, whatever you want. And then an hour and change from Asheville, an hour from Winston. I mean, our proximity to a lot of great things. Like we always say, everything you need is hands down in Hickory. But anything you could possibly want is an hour away.
Hop, skip, and a jump to anything.
So, like she said, beach to mountains, but even in that smaller scale of day trips or, within an hour or whatnot,
right.
Our proximity is fabulous. I love the small town feel with the, I quote, in quotes, bigger city amenities. I mean,
right.
Obviously not trying to equate us to Charlotte or New York or anything along those lines, but like I said, if you can walk around and not meet a stranger, but then at the same time, you can go see a high-quality performance, symphony, art museum, downtown retail, some great restaurants. I mean, it's a very interesting mix that a lot of communities our size don't have.
Right. When you touched on a lot of the notes that I have too, and one of my top 10 or so reasons I love Hickory is definitely it is location. It's and even on the personal side for me, it's 45 minutes to my mom and dad's front door. Yeah. So it's one of those things where far enough away, but close enough to be there in an instant. And having that close proximity and with to Charlotte and those other larger metro areas, Hickory, when the Highway 16 renovation comes to fruition, that might be 40 minutes door to door from Hickory to Charlotte. Yeah. I mean, if it's 65 or 70 miles an hour, I mean, you're going to be booking it down there, and it's not going to be standstill traffic.
Oh, so. And I went to school down east, ECU, and I remember having friends, fraternity brothers, like, oh, Hickory, what do you have? I mean, and you obviously sell Hickory, but I'll tell you what, when I tell them what's an hour away, they're in much of nothing an hour away from Greenville, North Carolina.
Right.
I mean, so they. New Bern, and then you still got a half hour, or change to get to somewhere in Raleigh. So, it is a great opportunity that we have here with all of that. Some other quick things, the schools. I think any community could sit there and point at warts about any sort of individual school or individual teacher, but we've got really good schools here from, pre-K through high school, through a 2-year college that's top notch, through a private university, and 4-year university presence in the area. We have got a great opportunity here. People move here because it's a great place to raise kids, and what's a big part of that is the schools. I have on here listed separately the SALT block. We kind of hit on that a little bit, but for those two people that might not be here all the time. SALT stands for Science, Arts, Literature Together, the SALT block. So that's where we have our science museum, our aquarium, large city library, the art museum, the symphony's located there, and some other projects and different programs in that SALT block. It's just something that most communities don't have, and even more so, communities our size do not have. I don't take enough advantage of this, but the lake and the river and that natural resource, whether it's recreational or just the ability to enjoy scenery, then knowing what that could do for development and involvement, it's a great resource that not everybody has.
Yeah, and I'll even go one further there. With the water. It's you do get the boating, the swimming in the summertime, but don't miss me with how good our water is, because it's unreal. The water that we get out of our tap is tested more times, quality controlled more times than what you're getting out of an Aquafina bottle, for sure.
We're still high up in the river chain.
Tastes delicious too.
That sort of stuff counts for something.
Yeah, coming from a guy who grew up on well water, I'm saying this tap water is great.
Right.
That's something to be said, I guess.
So it's not, and like I said, I don't take enough advantage of that. One of my goals this summer is to do more fishing and to get out on the water and really enjoy that a lot more. I hit on this a little bit with the people, but I have separately listed the spirit. There's just this can-do, and I don't know if it's based on the people that really kind of settled in this area. You've got the builders, the makers, the doers, that industrial just spirit within that's just kind of seeped in our bones, so to speak. And it's something that's awesome. Philanthropic spirit here. Very generous folks that live here and support others. This is something that I would have never thought I had on there beforehand, but it goes a little bit to what Mary-Margaret, not as cool though, where she said how we're named after a tavern.
Right.
So I always complain about how our streets, like most people that live here, how our streets are named.
Sure.
But then when I sit back and think about it, I do kind of like it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And, it's a civil engineering kind of it's like a marvel, really. Just because 2 4th streets don't connect with one another, it doesn't mean they're not, separated by a creek basically on the same latitude. Like it's smart. It really is smart.
And I don't know if it was initially developed and should have expanded out as the city grew, but it's one of those things too, where it's almost like, well, listen, I can make fun of my family family members, but you can't.
Yeah,
so
how
like when
dare
somebody
you.
else sits there and says, "Oh, Hickory, yeah, there's streets," that's when I
like,
break
how dare
out.
you?
I
How
break
dare
out
you?
all that stuff. No, there's a reason. It's all written up. The city
Right.
has it.
Yeah,
basically, shut it. You can't make fun of my streets. Only I can. So I did write down like the streets. Like this podcast is named after it. It does stand out. How about it's unique?
It is unique.
And I'll make fun of it. But how dare you, if you don't live inside this community, you do not make fun of our streets.
Yeah, and for those listening at home, we could spend another 10 minutes talking about it, but, streets run one direction, avenues run another direction, and it's all based on basically where the railroad tracks cross one another. And it's really that simple.
Yes. So that's why I live on a street drive. Mm-hmm. Beforehand, I lived on a Circle Place.
Right.
So
have you ever lived on a boulevard?
I have not.
I have. At street, I lived on a street boulevard, I believe it was.
And there are people that live on,
that.
one with three names, like not StreetCircleDrive, but, something along those lines. So, again, it's unique, and I love that uniqueness about where we live. I wrote on here and a little bit touching on, but the crawdads and LRU athletics, I grew up I love sports, and especially big-time college and pro. But I'll tell you what, even nowadays with the way TV is, it's great to sit down and watch it on TV. There's something about going to a game, and it's almost economically. You can't go to games anymore. It takes up the whole day. It costs so much money. Lord knows. Then you get a family, and you want to take them with you.
Take a family of 4 to the Panthers game.
You can't do it.
You can't do it.
But guess what? Take a family of 4 to the Crawdads, and you got $2 parking instead of $50 parking.
Yeah,
right. You want to go get a hot dog for the kids? Sure. You don't have to take out a loan.
Right.
And then same with LRU, especially I've done plenty of basketball and football there, and I think we've said it enough on the pod. It's such a great family-centered atmosphere. It's reasonably cost. It's right in the middle of town. It's easy in, easy out. That's not even talking about the product on the field is really good.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, that's just a lot of the stuff that I think of first and foremost. The list can go on, and a lot of it varies depending on your place in life, your age. Like, get somebody in here in their teens, they'd have a different list. 20 is a different list. 60 is a different list.
Sure.
But those are a lot of the things that came up first for me. What about you?
Hickory does have a lot of the same things that stand out. Mary-Margaret and you and I both have a lot of the same things on our list. One thing we didn't touch on is the low cost of living. And it is low, y'all. Like, I don't want to tell y'all because I don't want you to all move here, but it really is. There's a website you can go to. It's called bestplaces.net, and it tells you basically.
Oh, you did research?
I did research for this podcast.
Big time.
Mary-Margaret, did you hear that? Yeah. So, you can go to the website, bestplaces.net. Basically, you punch in your city name, and it tells you where it falls on average to other cities in the United States. So, the 100 is the U.S. average. 100 is the U.S. average on the way that they create
dollar
this
for
scale.
dollar.
Right, dollar for dollar. It factors in medium home price. It factors in median salary. I could go on, but Hickory is 89 out of 100. So that means that it's well below the United States average of cost of living. And on the Moose scale, that's a 6.1 out of 7 for those keeping score at home.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you. But yeah, go check out that bestplaces.net. It gives you all those facts and figures about just how low our cost of living here is in Hickory. It gives you breakdowns on the cost of rent per bedroom, house, the whole deal. It's really cool. It's a really good read. We touched on, we exhausted location. That just kind of speaks for itself. But this is kind of something that hits home for me is the live music scene in Hickory.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
I don't take
sure.
it as much as you do. Part of that's
right.
The family and this. I'm old.
Sure.
They're sleeping or I get some kid event. But I was going to ask you specifically because I do feel like even for me, not looking at it all the time and looking it up, on the periphery, I just hear about stuff a lot more than even I did here 10 years ago when I first moved here.
Yeah, it's really on and popping here, and there's restaurants and smaller venues all over town that are welcoming to local musicians. Not to mention we have the Music of the Mill, which is at which mill is that? Gosh almighty. Sorry, Will.
Holland.
Holler Mill, yeah.
See, yeah,
so,
way to go.
Right, yeah. My bad, Will. So the Music in the Mill series brings in top-notch musical talent that is basically national touring acts that come through last year. Within the last couple of years, I'll just rattle off a few names. Big Something, Sam Bush Band, Abigail Washburn and Bela Fleck. There's big names like Tyler Childers played here this year. I mean, that guy he's headlining huge festivals. So, the folks over there at Holler Mill, they've partnered with, I believe Midwood Entertainment, which brings a lot of their stable in. And it's, I think they're going to be not as many events this year, but they're going to have bigger acts this year. Is what's been filtered to me.
Still hosting at the mill.
Yeah, still hosting at the mill, but instead of 20 events, they might have 10, but double the size of the act, if you will.
I have not been to one there yet, and
it's great.
It's on my list.
Yeah, and the tickets are very reasonable for who they have coming in. Between $20 and $30 or so. Some are less than that, but I'll just put it this way. If you pay $20 this year to go see Tyler Childers, who was just recently in the mill, you will not ever be able to see Tyler Childers again for $20. So they're getting that type of act that's up and coming, that's just getting ready to blow up everything. So way to go, Music in the Mill at Holler Mill. Keep up that good work. The Sales Series, we had Bob Sinclair on the podcast recently and talked about the Sales Series that he promotes outside on the square, Union Square. It's May, and look on that, McNally, I think it's May and June and then September, right? Isn't that right? May, June, and September. Every Friday, May, June, and September. And the same goes with the Sales Series. They're bringing in acts that are larger, that are on this up and coming on their respective scenes, and it's awesome to see. It's guess what? Free. OHB's out there pouring beers. You can pack a picnic. That's the most economical Friday night you will ever find. Yep. It's a really good time. And, for us old fogies, it starts at 6:30 and ends at 8:30. So, you can go out there, have a couple beers and be in bed by 9. Like that's my kind of evening these days. Other spots, Oktoberfest we have in Hickory. That didn't make my list. It didn't make
It did not
didn't make the top 10
Hops
list.
Probably would have been in the next couple.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely in the subset of the live music because the Oktoberfest committee does do a good job of bringing a wide range of eclectic music into Hickory. And I think a lot of it is because there's 4 different people that run each stage, which is cool. So it gives
multiple stages helps.
Yeah, multiple stages help. So, at Oktoberfest, they have the main stage where you have bands like Acoustic Syndicate and larger like Eagles tribute bands, things like that come in. You've got the Pavilion stage, which runs, maybe local bands that are basically the best local bands around, and bands that are maybe just in a couple state area that are very up and coming. And then you have the Hickory Music Factory stage, which, is supported by the Hickory Music Factory, obviously, which is, if you're not familiar with that, it is, Tony El Toro and Rick Hefner and those guys over there. And they teach our community kids music and for a very low cost. So good on them too. They look forward to, having Tony on, I'm with the Band podcast coming up soon. So be looking forward for that as well.
And with all that, of course, you never even said, your local restaurants and bars.
Yeah. And of course,
shoot, grocery stores nowadays.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite gigs, to be honest, is the Lowe's grocery gigs. And they do, I believe Lowe's Viewmont and Lowe's, Bell Hollow both have smaller live music acts that play in there. And, if you haven't heard, music at the grocery store, it is packed in there. There's like
right in the beer den. You're sitting
right
there
in the beer den. There's 50 people packed in there, and it's a really good time. And so, thanks Lowe's Foods for having us in there all the time. It's a really good time.
Hi, I'm Alan.
I'm Chris.
And we're the co-hosts of Foot Candle Films, a movie review and film discussion show here on themesh.tv.
Each episode, we talk about some new movies, cover some film news, and have some recommendations.
And trust us, we're just as likely to talk about the latest Jim Jarmusch film as we are the newest Transformers installment.
Hold on, don't get too crazy.
Well, okay, maybe not that bad. But you can find our show and all our episodes on themesh.tv. Plus, you can subscribe to get new episodes delivered right to your computer or mobile device.
We'll see you in the ticket line.
But that kind of segues into my next thing that I love about Hickory, and it's the beer scene here. And we are living through, I believe personally, the best time to be alive for beer drinkers. Because, with the explosion of craft beer, and especially in our area, basically a couple of hours perimeter around Asheville, which encompasses Hickory, the beer scene is blowing up. We've got 3 really good breweries within, 5 miles of right here. OHB, which is right down the hill, Old Hickory Brewery. We've got Blowing Rock Brewery, who just moved into Holler Mill, and we got Granite Falls Brewery. All 3 of those breweries pour real good beer, make really good beer, and I'll support live music. So hats off to those guys for that. Let's see what else is on my list that we haven't fit. Okay, we'll just segue into the food scene as well. At one point, Hickory, I believe, had more like chain restaurants per capita than any other city in the country. I remember hearing when I first moved here. I was looking today for some stats on that, and I couldn't find exactly where Hickory lies on number of restaurants per capita. But I mean, if you just stop to think about it.
It's a ton.
If there's 40,000 people, give or take, in Hickory.
Yeah, it's a restaurant per person.
Yeah, it's a restaurant per person. I bet there's, within let's just say Hickory Metro, I bet there's 100 restaurants.
Oh, I agree.
That might be low.
I mean, just think about, obviously the food has become a major segment of what we talk about each time.
Yeah, of course.
And we don't go to chains.
Yeah, no, we do not go to chains, no.
So, I mean, it didn't make my top 10. It probably should have, but yeah, if you like to, there's a couple of, and we talked about this on pods, not the ethnic variety that we would necessarily like, a lot of Indian, but we've got some others that other places don't have because we have a great Vietnamese influence here. So we've got some that don't, but not that breadth of ethnic foods like in major metros. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of great food.
I mean, there's 4 pho restaurants in our area, and it's that's just something that we got food trucks everywhere now. If you're
more of those soon,
and super affordable fine dining options too. You can go to places, Fork Highland, Boca, places like that where you pay for $15, $18 plate of food, and it blows $30 plates of food in Charlotte away, just straight up. Blow them away, and the service, and I'll say this: I've got a lot of friends that are in the service industry in Hickory, and like hats off to you guys too, because there really is a large service population in Hickory that kills it every single day for us. When you have that many restaurants, you have to have that many people working there. So they're job creators, and they provide us great food. So keep doing what you're doing, and keep me and McNally just chunky and lovable
rolling
for our
down the
significant others.
streets.
That's right. Just take us in a wheelbarrow and roll us to where we want to go. That's right. That's right. We touched on the people and all that, and the friendliness, the year-round Christmas spirit, Tinseltown America, that sort of thing.
Right.
But I'd also like to touch on the amount of community and civic organizations that are in our area. There's a lot of people that are super involved in Hickory Metro that do a lot of good for a lot of people. And we've had a lot of those folks on our podcast. Just recently, Mark Story and, the children, who we've had? Kim Holden. Yeah.
We've talked about the Hickory Soup Kitchen, Austin Pierce, all the great work's going on there. I mean, there's not enough time to go through all
there really isn't. The Exchange Clubs, the Rotaries,
and again, I talked about even in mind the philanthropic, as part of Spirit, along with Can Do. I mean, a great example of that is not only the work being done, but the support of it. Like, it was December when somebody, threw out the challenge of, if the community can raise $10,000 for the soup kitchen, I'll match it. Anonymous donor said that.
Right. Boom.
Well, the community just said, here's $19,000. He gave, $16,000, $17,000, and it was matched put to the 10.
Right.
The challenge just like that, and it's great. Christmas spirit times are going pretty good right now for a lot of people, not everybody. But it's that sort of thing, like helping each other, working for each other, see a need, fill a need, all those wonderful things. It's great.
Yeah, it's one of those things where granted, the whole realm of this podcast is love, if you want to think about it like that. And I think the Hickory community really does love one another. And I know that does sound real sappy, but it's the truth. I don't know, but probably a handful of people, because maybe they're the loudest on the internet and everything. But for the most part, 99% of all Hickory nuts want the best for one another. And you see it. When you see something that doesn't feel quite right, or you see something, you're like, that doesn't happen in Hickory. And for the most part, it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't see a lot of the just egregious stuff you see in places that have big cities, or even other cities.
We're too busy doing.
Yeah, we're too busy helping one another. That's what it is. So, me and you helped one another today. Finish that family pack. Me and you finished the family dinner. Right there. Thank you. Me and McNally, Moose and McNally, took down some chicken
today. We did some work at lunch today.
We did.
Tell them where we went.
Listen, this is one of my favorite places. I didn't know about
this place until you told me. So
yeah.
I was on the outside.
So this place is located at 1263 Highway 70 Southwest in Hickory, right outside Longview. It's mountain fried chicken, and I eat there quite a bit, and it's the best. And I wanted to review this on the podcast because I want to give this place some shine. It's just a small little counter service.
Has to be in, I don't even know what that was beforehand, old Burger King style.
Man, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Right next to the gas station, across from the
Wendy's,
Wendy's, right across from the Best Way and Shoe Show and all that.
Yeah. McNally, I mean, I'm really too embarrassed to tell them what we ordered today.
Well, you should, because we split it. All right, so we were sitting there. We went to the menu and kind of looked it up, and there's chicken dinners, as like many fried chicken places, 1-piece, 2-piece, so on and so forth. Chicken tenders, it has a feel of a fast food meat and three,
right?
But focused on fried chicken. Tons of vegetables and sides, veggie plates, wings, dumplings, desserts, so on and so forth. So I love fried chicken. Like we went to snack bar. There are certain places where I can walk in there and say that it's about to go down because I will handle business. Mm-hmm. So we were going there, and you were talking about getting tenders, which is a Moose staple.
Yeah, Moose staple. That's what I usually get when I do go there. Right.
All right. So we were looking at the menu, and I said, well, let's just split the family meal.
It's just such an easy decision. Let's just get the family meal.
Yeah, and you didn't think about it. You just said yes.
Yes. Knee-jerk reaction. Let's just do it.
We were a family of two. We got the 9-piece chicken meal, 2 pint sides, and 4 rolls.
Yeah.
So the white and dark. So it was like, I don't even know, 4 legs.
Yeah, it was 4 legs, 2,002
2 breasts, and maybe 5 legs or something along those lines. The sides we got the big potato wedges, which is the second time. I mean, it sounds great in theory. You love them. I'm indifferent on them. It's just too much daggone potato. It's just, and I mean, I'm Irish. I shouldn't speak this way of our national root, but it's just too much for me. But I'll tell you what, son.
Yeah,
those greens.
Preacher, tell them.
So they came in we came in that pint. My Moose was very wise and got vinegar, salt, and I could have by myself, hands down, eaten 2 pints.
Oh,
on my own.
No, Jack. They should offer the 5-gallon bucket size.
They were cooked perfectly.
They were
excellent. I'm full right now, but I'd still go right now and eat more.
Right. I definitely could. It is the reason I go there.
Other sides that they had were green beans, pinto beans, sweet potatoes. I mean, they were total like yam style, like just the coarse chopped like big chunks. Mac and cheese, apples, pasta salad, mashed potatoes. Your typical, again, sides and veggies from like a meat and three sort of place. The chicken itself was really good, crispy, tasty, fried, good seasoning. Again, we got the family meal and it was 9 pieces. I think Moose probably had 3.
Yeah, I had a leg, a breast, and a thigh, I think is what I had.
So, for those doing the math at home,
it was impressive.
I took care of the rest of that. No doubt. It was awesome.
It was a display. I'm very proud of you. You did it, buddy.
Yep.
It was, but
I went light on the wedges because of that.
Yeah, no.
If I don't watch my figure, who?
Yeah, for sure. I will say this. I think McNally's not doing the wedges a very good service here.
So
they're for those at home that know what I'm talking about. These wedges are better than Pleasers wedges. That says a lot. When Pleasers was open, they used to have some of the best wedges around. Yeah. I think Mountain Fried Chicken's wedges are better than Pleasers. Come at me. Take me on at info@mesh.tv if you got a problem with that. But I'm serious.
Don't take me on to the generic email box that just gave you.
It comes directly to me.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, but yeah, I think the wedges are great. And the price is, what, $19.99 for that?
Yeah, it's $19.99 for a 9-piece. I mean, your 2-piece meals, 3-piece meals, $6, $7. I mean, the prices are right in line with any place else that you would go to get this, fried chicken, veggie tray, whatever it is. So,
yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't try the desserts, but of course they got peach cobbler, banana pudding, and all sounds
all homemade,
delicious.
Too. All homemade.
I definitely would go back. I definitely want to try the tenders. I would hands down get the chicken again.
Yeah.
And I would hands down get the greens again.
For sure.
No doubt. I would give it. It is not much for ambiance.
No, it's not. It's.
But you don't go to a place like this for ambiance.
No, absolutely not.
You go here to just do work.
Right.
I would probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
The fried chicken was awesome, and the greens are awesome, and I would do that all.
Okay, if you had, let me ask you this: if you had to score it separately, what would you give the chicken?
Ooh, the chicken, I'd probably give it. To me personally, here in this area, snack bar fried chicken to me is my favorite chicken that I've had in Hickory. I'd put this second.
Okay.
So I'd probably.
But that's a high bar. That's a high bar.
It's a high bar for me. I love snack bar fried chicken. So, I mean, with that being the case, I'd give it an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 for the fried chicken.
Is there enough numbers in the universe for the turnip greens?
The greens were definitely 11.
Yeah.
No, they were great.
For sure.
That's what I would do.
So, just to follow up on a little bit on how McNally was talking about it, the chicken, their tagline is, it's not greasy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think they need to just amend it. Just a smidgen.
It's not that greasy.
It's not that greasy because let's be honest, it's fried chicken. It's going to be greasy.
Yeah, if it's not, then there's something wrong.
They don't have huge air fryers back there from what are those things that you buy them off TV, the air fryers, whatever.
The little ones?
Yeah.
The industrial size.
No. They have industrial size fryers back there. I don't care what anybody says. Like Mountain Fried Chicken, you're not fooling nobody. You're not
your
fooling
hand.
No.
Right.
It's not, like I said, it's not that greasy. Exactly. It's not that greasy. Usually when I go there, it's my Monday lunch spot for the most part. The tenders are super good. They're, just like the fried chicken, same batter, all that good stuff. I sometimes go side platter. There's black eyed peas or off the charts.
I would totally do a veggie platter next time I went.
I think to maybe even out the amount of chicken we ate. This time we might need to just go sides.
My next 4 meals there might need to be. And let's be honest, it's good down home southern veggies. So
oh yeah, I mean they're not good for you. I mean let's just be honest.
They're not that good for you.
Yeah. So what I usually get is the green beans and turnip greens and all that good stuff. It's if you get a chance to go, just go and do it. The sauces they serve as well. I swear they taste homemade. The
hot sauce,
yeah, the hot sauce, honey mustard, ranch.
Ranch was homemade.
Yeah, well, it was really good. On the moose scale, I gave it a solid 6.8 out of 7. It's one of my favorite. It's high, man. I'm telling you, but it's one of my favorite places to eat. Again, we're talking about Mountain Fried Chicken. It's located at 2063 Highway 70 Southwest in Hickory. It's open 7 days a week. 10:30 to 9 Monday through Saturday, 10:30 to 7 on Sundays.
You know your 6.8 equates to a normal person's 9.7?
Yeah, 9.7. That's what I'm
impressive.
saying. It's up there, buddy. I was just looking on the menu. Oh, one other thing. Their chicken and dumplings.
I've had that before?
Right. And they also have specials every single day as well. So like Monday is 2 pieces and a side for, It's $4 or $5, something like that. Thursday is chicken and dumplings day. I did notice that on the board today. Those things are homemade as the day is long, and they're great too. I've had that before. So y'all go check out Mountain Fried Chicken, and just outside of our lovely city of Hickory, North Carolina. McNally, me and you had a good time today.
It was a good time.
I appreciate you going out to lunch with us.
So every once in a while, we can handle this by ourselves.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not firing Mary-Margaret though.
No, but she definitely does not deserve her full pay for this episode.
No. Well, I don't know. She's got a couple vacation days built up, so we might have to. We'll talk to our HR department about that. But we'd like to thank you guys for listening to this episode of Street Circle Drive here on The Mesh. You can check out our past shows on our network at themesh.tv or your other podcast listening platforms. Like I said before, please feel free to reach out to us at info@themesh.tv to send us an email to tell us how we're doing, send us thoughts, comments, suggestions, feedback, all that good stuff. What restaurants we should review. If you want to give us money to put your name on the podcast, that would be great too. We are actively looking for podcast sponsorship. So if you guys know of any businesses that would like to get involved with The Mesh, please let us know, and we will be happy to say your business on air about 4 or 5 times a podcast.
Absolutely. And if there's extra free fried chicken involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Mountain Fried Chicken, holler at us.
Exactly.
For sure. So until next time, say goodbye, boys.
It's Valentine's Day. We love you, Hickory.
We love you, Hickory. We really do.
Later on, Hickory Nuts.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.